Okay, so in this video, I'm going to show you how to put together the Schoolhouse gift box. And what we're going to do is begin by assembling the base. And your base is made up of these two white pieces, and there are some little decorative panels that you probably want to glue on ahead of time. So I'm just going to do one just to show you. Okay, we just want to get some glue on there and just position that dead center, making sure that you've got a nice even border going all the way around this piece here. Okay, so you want to put the rest of these three pieces on these little spaces here, and then you can go ahead and get all of these tabs folded over so that we can start putting together the actual base of our box. And I just kind of like to pre-bend everything just because it makes the rest of the process go that much smoother. So we're going to go ahead and put glue on one of these tabs. And just make sure that your tabs, these bottom tabs, are all going in the same direction. Mine are facing down. And I'm going to glue this in place. And then if you want, just to make sure that you've got it perfectly aligned, you can actually take it and fold it over on itself. And just kind of make sure that everything here is nice and flush. That means that you've got it perfectly aligned. And then we can go ahead and put glue on the other tab and just fold that over. And again, just make sure that everything is nice and adjusted into place. There we go. Okay, so we've got the base of this thing almost complete here. Now you're going to have two white pieces. Okay, and actually one of them, you'll notice if you look closely, there's a little L that is etched into the paper. It's actually scored into the paper. So you'll notice that there are two squares like this. One has a little L etched into it, and that just signifies that that is a liner piece. So we'll do that piece last. I'm going to put the base of the box on right now. Just put glue on these tabs here. Grab the piece that does not have the L on it. And just pop it on the bottom of your box. Okay, and then once it has that initial grip, give it just a few seconds. You can flip it over and then push down from the inside. And just kind of run your finger along that tab, and then you can go ahead and put glue on the bottom of your liner and just pop it inside to finish off the inside and to make it a little bit more sturdy too. Okay, there we go. So we'll let that dry. And then for the base of the box, we do have these two pieces here that you want to glue in the center of the opposite side. So it almost looks like there's a bow going through the middle of the box. Okay, so you're just going to have a panel here, obviously, and just get that glued down in the center. Okay, you can see what that looks like here. There is the little bow part. Okay, so let's take a look at the lid for the box. It's very simple. Got these pieces here, and then two of these, one being a liner. And we're going to join these two green pieces together by putting glue on one of the tabs and then gluing this into place. Okay, I'm going to put that flat on my table, and then I'm going to fold it in on itself because, again, this should match up perfectly if you have the piece glued in the right place. It should be pretty seamless as far as the design goes. Okay, and then we can just go ahead and fold it over and put glue on the other tab to close this piece up. Okay, and again, it's kind of folded in on itself. And it just makes sure that we've got everything properly aligned. Okay, so there we go. Now we're going to bring these tabs in and I'm going to get that top glued to the lid. And then again, of course, we have a nice liner piece. And now with this one here, because this piece is a little more flimsy, I would probably put the liner piece in first. There's a little L here to signify that it is a liner. So I'm going to place glue on the tabs from the inside. And you know, you could do it either way, it doesn't really matter, but I think, like I said, because this piece is a little more flimsy, I'd rather kind of get that structure a little more solid before I put the top on. It's just gonna make for an easier assembly on the top. Okay, so again, there's your top, and we're going to put glue along the edge of the top of the lid, and just a little bit in the center here. No one's really going to see that because your schoolhouse is going to be right on top of this, but you still want to make sure it's nice and pretty and perfect. Okay, and then finally we have our little bow piece. Okay, and that actually, I don't think it really matters which side you put it on. It just need to make sure that you have it aligned perfectly with the little piece here. Okay, I don't really think it matters which way it goes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue on one part of this. Just make sure you get the glue out to the edge so it has a nice clean seam here, just like that. Okay, and then just kind of bend that in a little bit, kind of train that score mark, and the other end should match up perfectly. Now you can go ahead and put a little bit of glue down the middle here just so that this holds, but really your main focus is going to be to just focus on getting this nice and glued down and aligned just to hold it in place. Get it out to the edge and just pop that in place. Okay, so we have our cute little lid for our cute little box. Okay, and then the house, the little schoolhouse, is going to get glued right to the top of this thing, which is what we're going to work on next. So I'm going to grab these two pieces here, okay, and the first thing that I would probably do is get my panels put into place. I'm going to take this door and just kind of make sure that it swings open and closes. Always want to begin by just folding all the score lines, because once this thing's in place, it may be a little more difficult to do things like that. And we actually took this and embossed it using a embossing folder that kind of looks like siding. Okay, so you're welcome to do that. And I'm going to go ahead and get this glued into place on the front. Okay, this is a smaller project, so if you have a precision tip glue bottle, I would highly recommend using it for this application. Okay, now all of these panels, when you have them in place, they do leave a little bit of a border along the edge. Okay, now with this, just make sure that you have it situated to where the door does swing open and closes. Okay, and again with this one here, it only fits one way. Okay, it looks like there is a little bit more area on the bottom, so you want to get that glued down like so. So I'm going to get that into place. Okay, and again, we did emboss all sides of this thing. Just make sure that you have a nice even border around. Just make sure you have a nice even border all the way around this thing. Okay, and you'll see that your windows look very proportional when you have that in place. And it looks like the border exists on the left, right, and bottom, but not on the top actually. So that is how you want to do it. And same process goes for the other side of the building. Okay, so this is going to get glued here, and this is going to get glued here. So you want to go ahead and do that. Okay, and also we have these cute little planters that you want to go ahead and get glued down under each window. Okay, there's a total of 6 of them, 2 in the front, 2 in the back. Actually, there should be 8 of them. Oh no, 6. 2 in the front, and then 2 on each side. Okay, so you want to just take a little bit of glue and just get those planters glued down below each window. Okay, and we can go ahead and begin just kind of putting together the base of our house. Now these little score marks up at the top, or these tabs I should say, are going to help keep our roof in place. So all we really need to do at this point is just glue the actual pieces for the house in place. And I'm going to do that by putting glue on this tab here, and then taking the other half of the schoolhouse and getting that glued into place. Now before I do that, again, I just want to kind of make sure I fold these tabs just at least once, so that when I really do need to fold them, they will be ready. Okay, and now this kind of glues at a little bit of an angle. Oops. So just make sure that you've got this piece nice and flush with its neighbor, and that these tabs here are kind of on the same plane. Okay, and you can go ahead and bend this in half. Just make sure you've got a nice straight line there. I mean, it's at an angle, but it is straight. You don't want either of the pieces kind of sticking out. Okay, and then we can go ahead and join this together. We'll put glue on this tab here and just get this glued into place. Just make sure that, again, you've got a nice straight line here. Again, you're going to have your panels all on there. Your little windowsills are going to be decorated with the little planters below each window. And I'm just kind of bending that to make sure that I've got a nice straight line. Okay, so there is our schoolhouse. And one thing I did forget to do is put the green door on top of the white door, which is not a problem because that piece is fairly loose and very easy to access. So I'm just going to go ahead and get that glued into place like so. And it looks like we used a little tiny little rhinestone for the doorknob, which is a cute little touch. So you can definitely do that. Okay, so there's your door. And at this point, I don't think I'm ready to put the little porch in place just yet. I want to put the rest of the house together because that is a pretty delicate piece. Okay, so I don't want to do that just yet. But we do want to, before we do anything else, just put the bottom on this thing so that we have a little bit of stability with this piece. So I'm going to go ahead and put glue on all 4 of these tabs and take my bottom and just get that aligned and into place. It's a little tricky because of the shape of this thing. Once you have it somewhat in place, because we didn't put the roof on, we can stick our finger inside and help with the gluing. Now, no one's going to see the bottom of this, but do your best to make sure that you have it precisely aligned because I want it to be as perfect as possible. Okay, so there's our little, the beginning of our little house here. And the next thing we want to do is we want to grab our roof. Okay, it's one piece. There are some slits here, and that's for the little bell tower. Okay, so we are going to put the bell tower in there eventually. But the first thing we want to do is we want to score and actually fold at the fold lines here, because we have a cute little heart-shaped, I believe it's called soffit, or just like a decorative piece. Okay, so what we're going to do, there are two little tiny tabs on one side of this thing. Okay, again, this is a delicate piece, and that's going to get glued on like so. It's going to meet in the middle. Okay, so you just want to kind of hold that in place. Probably start with the bottom one, and then once you have that bottom piece in place, you can pop it down on your table and push down on that other piece in there to get that glued into place. Okay, and when you're done, it should kind of look like that. Okay, so you want to repeat that process on the other side as well. Okay, just get that bent over, and we're going to place glue on these two tiny, tiny, tiny little tabs. That's all we need though. It'll definitely hold it in place. Just slide that in, and again, just make sure that you've got it nice and square, and just hold that in place until it's dry, and then you can pop it on your table and push the other piece in place like so. Okay, so that's going to form our roof. Now we don't want to put the roof on just yet because we got to construct the bell tower, and then we're going to slide that through these little holes and get that glued in, and then everything's going to go together all at once here. So the bell tower is just one piece. Okay, and again, make sure that you go through and go around and fold at the score marks here. These little tabs here are for the roof of the bell tower. Okay, so just make sure that you get those all bent into shape, and then we can actually go ahead and close this guy up. We're going to take this tiny, tiny little tab here. Again, we're working with a fairly small house here, so we had to adjust everything accordingly to ensure that everything fits. And we're just going to get that glued into place. Okay, just make sure that you've got a nice straight line here when you join the two pieces together. It's not very difficult. You can kind of bend this over again just to make sure that you've got a nice straight line there. And it also helps with the gluing. Okay, so there's your bell tower. Okay, and we can go ahead and put our roof on here in just a second. Let's go ahead and construct the roof. It's this piece here, as well as this piece here. Okay. Okay, so let's take this piece here, and this is kind of our guide to help us shape the roof of the bell tower. It's not exactly a 90-degree angle, but that's okay. I'll show you exactly how we're going to use that piece to help us determine the proper angle. It's very simple. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to begin by just putting glue on one half of this piece here. Just be very gentle with your flow. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and glue this to one of these tabs here. Just like so. Let me get that out of the way. Just make sure that you've got it nice and aligned there. And you can kind of push down to help with the gluing. Okay, and then all you have to do is put glue on the other half of this and just get the other piece in place and meet that angle. There you go. Very simple. Okay. And you're going to repeat that same process on the other side, okay, just to kind of make it a little more sturdy. I'm going to omit that process for the sake of for the sake of time. Now, while we have the roof off, I'm going to go ahead and put together our bell. Okay, the bell is made up of two pieces, and what we're going to do, you'll notice here that there are a series of score lines and what we want to do is we want to glue the bell back to back, but you don't want to put any glue on the score line area. Okay, so just glue that back to back like so. Make sure that gets a good hold. And then you've got these little tabs up there, okay, and those are simply going to get glued or pop dotted to the inside of the roof, okay. If you want to pop dot it, that's fine, it might be easier, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a nice glob of glue on this top piece, and again, just make sure that you have it centered, and then just push down on both sides. You might want to grab a little pen or something just to kind of help with the gluing, and just make sure that you have it centered, because we want this thing to look like gravity is, you know, pulling it down. So it should kind of look like that, okay? And give that another few seconds to dry. I'd probably pop dot it, it might be easier. Okay, so next up is just putting the roof on. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and bend these tabs in. Okay, we're going to put glue on all of these little tabs here. And I'm going to slide my roof over and get it into place. I'm kind of using my thumbs here to kind of apply force. Try to get it nice and centered. Okay. And hold that into place, hold that in place until we're sure that it's nice and completely dry. Okay. So our little bell tower. Okay. So be patient with that. And then all that's left to do is take our bell tower and slide this tab through here like so. And then we're going to slide the other tab through here like so. And then you can flip it around. Okay. And you're simply going to glue. I'm going to put some glue on between that tab and the top of the roof and just push and hold those pieces in place so that we have our little bell tower glued from the inside. That way it's nice and clean on the outside, and it looks like we had some little mini construction workers doing a really good job putting this thing together. Okay, so we've got the bell tower connected to the roof. The bell tower is all assembled. Now at this point, what we can do is put the roof on the main structure here. So I'm going to put glue on all of these tabs. Okay, and there is a little bit of an overlap. Okay, and technically it doesn't matter which side goes where. You want to just go ahead, and what I would do is probably pull these tabs out a little bit so they're not completely flat. So when we take this and push down, it'll kind of grip it. Okay, and there we go. Just make sure that it's centered and hold it down just for a little bit, especially where the tabs were, just to make sure that it gets a nice grip. Okay, and there you go. There's your cute little schoolhouse. And we can put together the little porch, okay? And it's pretty straightforward. You just want to fold everything at the score lines. Very delicate piece, but definitely doable. Okay, it's got a little built-in step. Okay, we're going to take our glue on this little triangular tab here and glue that behind there, like so. Just hold that into place. Okay, and that is the basic construction of this little porch. The only thing left to do at this point is to put glue. Now this little step, you bend this back, and then you bend that back again. We're going to put glue on the back of the step as well as on the back of this little awning, and that's what gets glued to the house. Okay, so we can kind of just make sure that this is nice and level. And just position it, the bottom of that inside part of the step should be flush with the bottom. And then just get that glued into place. And just hold it in place until it gets a good hold. Okay. So there's your cute little porch. Okay. And one last thing that we did was we added a little banner. As you can see here, it says school. It's just this piece here. We pop dotted that. You can glue it on, you can do whatever you want. And also, again, we added some embellishments as far as rhinestones go, and kind of finished it off with a cute little tag. Okay, just glue these pieces together, put a little gold ribbon on there just to hold it to the bell tower when we presented it to when we go to present it to the teacher. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed the project.
Stay on top of all things Dreaming Tree and engage with us today. Get the latest news and enter in our giveaways on Facebook. Get inspired by following us on Pinterest. Be the first to see our new product launches on Instagram. Do you prefer Twitter? Yep, we're there too. Watch our beautiful product trailers and assembly tutorials on YouTube. For more information, visit www.3dsvg.com. Live, craft, love, and dream.